The key turned in the lock at 11:47 p.m. I knew the sound because I'd been lying awake counting the minutes. She wasn't supposed to have a key yet. I met Richard's mother exactly 3 times before the wedding. She flew in from Phoenix, stayed at the Hilton, and left a day early. "Work emergency," she said. Richard squeezed my hand and said she was just like that. Independent. I believed him. Our life together was quiet. 2 years of Sunday pancakes, his briefcase by the door, the way he'd hum while brushing his teeth. I worked from home, he worked late. The silences between us felt comfortable, not empty. Then the accident happened on a Tuesday. The police knocked at 2:15 a.m. I remember the exact time because the microwave clock burned it into my retinas while I stood there, holding the officer's words in my hands like a dead bird. She arrived before the funeral, just appeared in my kitchen at dawn with a casserole dish. "I let myself in," she said. "You shouldn't be alone." Her name was Deborah. I hadn't called her mom. She hadn't offered. That first month, her visits felt like a gift. She'd fold laundry while I stared at walls. She paid the electric bill when I forgot. She brought groceries I didn't ask for but somehow needed. One day I came back from the cemetery and found my spice rack reorganized. "You had everything in the wrong jars?" she called from the living room. I didn't know spices could be wrong. The second month, she started using her own key. I never gave it to her. Richard must have. I found it on his keyring when I was cleaning out his nightstand, a silver one I didn't recognize. I gave it to her because it seemed important. She held it like a sacrament. She'd arrive at 7:30 a.m. now. I'd be in my bathrobe and she'd already be wiping down counters. "Can't start the day in chaos," she'd say. She brought photo albums I hadn't seen. Richard at 16, Richard at his college graduation. "He was so handsome," she'd whisper, and I'd nod. But the boy in those pictures looked like a stranger. Then she started staying later. The sun would set and she'd still be there, watching the news in Richard's chair. "I sleep better here," she said once, closer to him. I didn't know what that meant. This was my house, had been for 6 years. The first time I found something moved in my bedroom, I told myself I was imagining it. My jewelry box was open. A necklace I'd worn on our first date was on top, not tucked inside. I never asked. Asking would make it real. She began commenting on my clothes. "That color washes you out. Richard always preferred you in blue." She bought me a blue sweater. It itched. I wore it twice. She'd quiz me on Richard's preferences. What was his favorite dessert again? Tiramisu. His favorite movie? The one with the car chase. I don't remember the name. She'd frown. "You should remember these things." One night I woke to footsteps in the hall. Not my cat. Too heavy. I froze under the covers while the shadow paused outside my door, then retreated. The next morning, she was making coffee like always. "Did you hear something last night?" I asked. "Just getting a glass of water," she said. "The guest bathroom has a sink." The phone calls started. If I was 5 minutes late getting home, my cell would ring. I was getting worried. She'd installed herself in my life like a second spine. I couldn't turn without feeling her. I found myself taking longer routes home, sitting in parking lots, anything for 10 minutes of air that didn't smell like her perfume. The perfume was the problem. It wasn't just floral. It was Richard's pillow after she'd hugged it. It was my couch cushions. It was the scarf I'd left on the coat rack. I started washing everything. She noticed. "You're so particular lately." I tried setting boundaries. "Deborah, I need some space to grieve." She looked at me like I'd slapped her. "I'm grieving too. He was my son." The unspoken words hung there. "You were just his wife." That's when I started locking my bedroom door. I could hear her try the handle sometimes. Just a soft jiggle, then she'd walk away. The lock became my only privacy, my only no. The escalation happened in degrees so small they felt like temperature changes. She'd open my mail. She'd answer my phone when it rang. "Just trying to help," she'd say when I confronted her. "You seem overwhelmed." I was, but not for the reasons she thought. She started talking about the house. "Richard grew up here, you know, in this neighborhood. I always thought he'd come back to Phoenix, but he loved this place." She'd touch the door frames like they were holy. "Such good bones. He had such vision." I didn't know what she meant until I found the paperwork. Real estate brochures, market analyses. They were tucked in her knitting bag. I wasn't supposed to look, but she'd left it open in the kitchen. My kitchen. That evening, I asked directly, "Are you thinking of moving here?" She smiled. "Would that be so terrible? Family should be close." I said nothing. Richard had called her exactly once a month. We visited once a year. That was the definition of close. The real shift came when I found the journal. Not mine. Hers. It was in the guest room nightstand. I wasn't snooping. I was changing the sheets, and it fell open. The entry was dated 2 weeks after the funeral. "She's not handling this the way I would. She's too young to understand what loss means. I need to guide her. I need to protect his memory." My hands shook. I put it back exactly as I'd found it. The next day, I called a locksmith. Changed the locks while she was at the grocery store. When she returned, her key didn't work. She rang the bell. I let her in. "New locks?" she asked. Her voice was ice. "Just a precaution," I said. "There have been break-ins in the neighborhood." She stared at me. "Break-ins. I see." She didn't ask for a new key. I didn't offer. For 3 days, nothing. No calls. No visits. I breathed. I slept with my bedroom door open for the first time in months. Then the letter came. Hand-delivered. No stamp. "You think you can lock me out? This was his house. You were temporary." He told me everything. That's when I found the recording. On my own phone. A voice memo from Richard, dated 3 days before he died. "Mom's getting worse. The calls, the showing up. I think I don't know. I love her, but we need space. I'm going to talk to her this weekend. Set boundaries." He never got the chance. I played it for her. She came over that night, rang the bell like a stranger. I made her listen on the front porch. Her face didn't change. Not one muscle. When it ended, she said, "He was confused. Grief does that." She handed me back my phone. "But you're not confused. You're just cruel." The fallout was quieter than I expected. She told his sister I was unstable, told his aunt I was acting out. The family calls tapered off. I became the villain in a story I didn't know I was in. My own mother asked if I was handling things properly. I stopped explaining. She mailed me a box. Inside, every gift she'd ever given me, folded, wrapped in paper. A note. These belonged to the family, even the blue sweater. I burned it in the fire pit. The smoke smelled like her perfume. 2 months later, I sold the house. The realtor said it moved fast. "Good bones," she said. I didn't correct her. I'm in a 1-bedroom now. The photos of Richard are in a box, not on walls. That's not cruelty, that's survival. I needed to find the line between remembering and drowning. Last week, I got a text from an unknown number. "I'm in town. Thought I'd stop by." I didn't answer. I blocked it. The final box from the old house arrived yesterday. I'd missed it in the move. Inside, Richard's high school yearbook. I flipped through. Found his senior photo. In the margin, in his handwriting. "Can't wait to get out. Mom says I'm her whole world. That's too heavy for anyone." I closed the book. Put it on the shelf. Some weights you don't have to carry forever. She still sends birthday cards. No return address. Just thinking of you both. I throw them away unopened, but I keep the last one. In my own journal I wrote, "She visits him in my dreams now. I don't answer the door.